In the headlines tonight, plans unveiled to track down corruption in the civil service. Crop over starts early and with bands already showcasing and selling costumes. Big kites being readied for Easter Monday. And in sports, a dazzling 50 from Kyle Mears can't stop the Giants from falling to their first defeat in the 2023 IPL.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Hello, I'm Shane Seeley. In our lead story, more investigations expected under a new suite of legislation to track down any corrupt official holding public office. That promise from the Attorney General, Dale Marshall. Outlining steps being taken, he revealed it sees a return of the integrity in public life legislation, which was previously defeated in the Senate. He's optimistic about a different outcome this time around and highlighted some of the other steps being taken to hold civil servants accountable.
We've had our integrity legislation defeated in the Senate. That was in 2020. We've brought it again. I don't know what it will turn out like on this occasion. But in the meantime, as I said, we've passed a new Anti-Corruption Act. We've also brought to the statute books whistleblower protection. We've also brought new public procurement legislation, which attempts to ensure that there's transparency in all of our procurement processes. And we've also established by statute a special agency to deal with anti-corruption issues. All of these things we've done because we want to underscore the importance of accountability for all public servants. None of them are going to be popular.
The AG shared details during a regional training workshop on anti-corruption and misconduct in public office at the Radisson Aquatica. So why is investigating corruption in public office here so difficult, to the point where Barbados has never seen such a case? The Attorney General answered that question.
We also had to bring in investigators from overseas, not that number, but we had to bring in investigators from overseas because in a country with just under 300,000 people, everybody knows everybody. If you don't go to school with somebody else, you went to the same school, your children probably go to the same Sunday school, and it's really very difficult in a small society like ours to be able to convincingly pursue matters in terms of investigation where acts of dishonesty are involved.
Attorney General Marshall also commented on the Donville Innes saga. The former government minister was recently released from jail in the U.S. on money laundering charges after serving a 2-year prison term. Mr. Marshall went on to say prosecutors and other investigative officials need more tools and practice to beef up their ability to deal with cases of corruption.
That particular minister was charged with money laundering, not with corruption, because the alleged corrupt act took place in Barbados, but the funds were routed from Bermuda to the U.S., and then the whole thing fell apart. There's a huge discussion as to whether we're doing enough to tackle the issue. Now, one of our failings is that because historically we have not done a lot of investigative work in this kind of area, our people are trained, but I think Sarah and I were having a discussion recently, training without practice is just having possession of the theory.
In other news, we hear the use of media and technology will be at the forefront to push the message of Child Abuse Awareness Month. The Minister, Kirk Humphrey, believes the more aware we are, the more it will be reported. The Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs believes it's high time people are taken before the courts in a timely manner.
Even with greater hope, the more likely we are to take cases to court and actually win some. And invariably, I think that is where the ministry has to go, that is where Child Care Board has to go. We have to take these cases to court, and we have to be able to win them. And that requires a whole of nation approach. It requires individuals, when they know it's happening, to report it. It requires, of course, the police to take the case. The length of time sometimes cases take in court. When I was an officer at the Child Care Board, it had always concerned me that an incident could occur when a child is pretty much a baby and not be tried until the person is fairly grown.
Now, the director of the Child Care Board, Roseanne Richards, spoke about some of the special activities to mark the month.
We're also going to have a readied drama that would be addressing child abuse in all its forms, and it will be aired, I think, during the GIS Government Information Service program, but we're hoping to put it on one of the radio stations that would be giving a lot of coverage to young people, possibly one of the VOB stations or the CBC stations. We're still working on that, but the radio drama would be on. We're also going to be having a youth seminar, and the topic would be don't reach for a weapon, reach for a solution. And I think we're going to put that during Child Month because we can't do everything during April, but that particular activity should come off in May.
Well, crop over is already in the air. In April, well, the month has just started and no crop over calendar is out just yet, but the bands, they're hitting the ground running and building a vibe for the 2023 crop over season. Vida by Esquire launched its band last night under the theme Kindred Spirits at a stunning location near Codrington School in St. John. Joining us live now to tell us about this early launch for our crop over is director of the band, Ryan Ford. Good to have you on here on NewsNight. Talk to us about this early launch. You're launching in April and it's a new band as well.
Hi, good night. Yes, it is a new band. We would have come out in 2020. Actually the week of COVID-19 reaching. So obviously we would have postponed, and we felt that, we owe it to Barbadians. We wanted to come out, bring something new, whole different experience, and joining the two brands, Esquire Entertainment and Vida. And the earlier we launched, not just the patrons, but in regards to the logistics as well.
Talk about this combination. You've come together with some other partners to create what is a very vibrant band. Talk a bit about that partnership.
Yeah, so what we've done is we've joined a partnership with Esquire Entertainment. These are the gentlemen that have set the platform for all inclusives in Barbados. They do the major event called Bliss. Most tourists are always trying to find a way to get to Bliss. Most locals are as well. Of course, there are many other events now, and that's the good thing about Barbados is that we have events complementing each other and giving options to locals and tourists. Now, what we've done from Vida Barbados, with the lead designer being Janelle Jin Ford, she's a Barbadian lady living in Trinidad, and she's a fashion designer. And she has done designs for us across the entire Caribbean, as well as in Miami. And then we've also partnered with a lot of artists and creatives across Barbados in order to create a band full of creatives. So you have Spinny, he's into the exercise world. You have Christian, she's into designs. Then you also have some visiting designers also out of Jamaica and Trinidad. But then you also go back into the media side with Basidi, Events Barbados, and different partners and whatnot across the board.
And from the looks of things, you have a massive following already. Talk about plans for sales, costume sales, and how many people you're looking at to hit the road.
Yeah, so what we wanted to do was pretty much create something that complements the festival. We weren't here to come and compete because, if we add to the festival, it gives a variety of options for locals and tourists. So what we are aiming to do is look at 750 or so revelers on the road with us, and that's what we really wanted to do there.
Any challenges with the supply chain? We know that there have been issues coming out of COVID. What are you seeing now as you try to get things ready?
Well, we do know that you have to plan earlier and you have to execute earlier, and you also have to communicate a lot better as well too. So what we've done is we did the band launch earlier, so that way it would give us, April, May, June in order to confirm orders. And we hope by the middle of June we'll be able to confirm that. And then, of course, it comes to the logistics of the production aspect. The great thing is that Janelle Jin Ford, she does all the production in-house. So it allows us to cut out that element in itself and then worry about the logistics of the transportation side of things. And then, of course, work with members like the NCF and customs and whatnot in order for us to get everything into the island for those parts, but obviously some here as well in Barbados.
Well, looking forward to what you have planned for the rest of the festival and what the other bands are bringing as well. Crop over is in the air. Things are looking good. Thank you so much for spending some time with us here on Newsnight, Ryan Ford.
You're most welcome. Thank you. Have a good night.
I appreciate your time. Well, a massive kite flying and fun day is being planned for Easter Monday, and it will be at Paris Hill in St. Joseph. Trevor Thorpe, well, he takes us there.
The sky over Andrews and Paris Hill in St. Joseph will be awash with colour come Easter bank holiday. After a 3-year hiatus, the Paris Hill kite flyers are at it again with their gigantic kites. Neil O'Maskell is one of the main organisers.
It looks like nothing now because we can't actually put the kites up as yet because of the heat and the wind and that sort of will actually destroy them. We're going to start working this evening, preparing, framing and so on. All of the background things are in place in terms of the materials, the sponsor for the kite, and we just really got to put the plan together between now and say Sunday afternoon.
The aim of the flyers is to build slightly smaller kites this year.
We're not going too large like years ago. We're looking at 15 feet and 22 feet. But as I say that to you now, and we actually start to construct these things, the measurements can change from 15 feet to 25 feet and that sort of thing. So, but tentatively, we're looking at 15 feet, which is quite manageable over the years, very, very simple to fly, and 22 feet.
And in case you're wondering, the kites will have bulls.
Our plan, we wouldn't be flying the kite overnight, and it will be flown in the specified times of the law, because we are not intending or we're not breaking any laws. The ways we can get it down once it is airborne, and it's pretty simple. We got the experience, we know we can get it done.
Groups and individuals are being encouraged to bring their kites and join in the fun. The organisers are planning an entire day of entertainment, which will include gospel and soca artists, a karaoke competition, and an after party. The event is a free one. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
Well, coming up after the break, we show you all of the launch of a major anti-bullying campaign, that story and much more right here on Newsnight. The fight against bullying was taken to the streets today, an initiative of Supreme Counseling for Personal Development. 3 schools, St. George Secondary, Grantley Adams Memorial and Frederick Smith Secondary, participated in the exercise. In all, about 500 students marched from Lower Broad Street to Queen's Park. Coordinator Sean Clark says the initiative has gone from the talking stage to action and called on Barbados to support the effort.
Normally, you hear the outcries, everybody talking about the negative things that young people are doing. Here we have 3 secondary schools trying to do good, trying to stamp out bullying in their schools, but they cannot do it alone. We at Supreme Counseling cannot do it alone. We need Barbados to join us. We need adults to come on board and to really help us as we try to save our young people from this devastating thing called bullying.
Work has started on what is to be Barbados's first innovation hub. The Minister of Industry, Innovation, Science and Technology, Davidson Ishmael, has confirmed a large plot of land in Newton Christchurch will be the home to the first such facility. Already the land has been cleared to prepare. He provided more details on the structure during a Barbados Labour Party St. George South branch meeting last evening.
It is going to be a tinsel structure. Tinsel meaning it is not going to be concrete and mortar, etc. It is bricks. It is actually going to be a steel structure with almost like a awning, almost that type of material. It's going to be stretched and overlaid over it. It is a very innovative building design. It is going to be established in very short order because it takes significantly less time to establish a tinsel structure than it does to do bricks and mortar, which will take significantly long time. It's a significant long time. So we are actually using innovation in how we build out our new industrial parks going forward.
Mr. Ishmael revealed some of the intended uses of the Newton Innovation Hub.
We're going to digitize the Atlantic slave records, and then after we have done that exercise, we're then going to move forward then to digitizing other aspects of government, and we're going to use that same space to help us to build out other activities such as our pharmaceutical industry that we're going to build out is going to be built out at that same location. So after we finish the digitization of our Atlantic slave records, we will use the same facility that has been built out to then be able to establish new industries in Barbados from that Newton Industrial Park location.
90% of disabled people in Barbados are unemployed, and this is being seen primarily as a result of educational disadvantages for that section of the population. Chairman of the Advisory Committee for Improving the Lives of People with Disabilities, MP Edmund Hinkson, says the proposed national policy document on creating a more inclusive society will be addressing that imbalance. That proposed bill will be finalized, debated, and hopefully activated this year.
We have had legislation for over 60 years stating that education should be free at the point of delivery for all children between ages 4 and now 16. But practically speaking, education is not free for many children with disabilities because their parents have to pay for them at special schools. Employment. Okay. 90% of adult persons with disabilities in Barbados do not have a job, are not employed, or are not self-employed, and that stems naturally from the disadvantages children with disabilities have in terms of our education.
Mr. Hinkson speaking last night on TV8 The People's Business, which dealt with issues facing the disabled community. President of the Barbados Council for the Disabled, Kerry-Ann Eiffel, says there are other issues that need more focus. This includes psychological and emotional abuse of the disabled.
And then, of course, there's the economic and financial abuse, where persons hold on to your benefits and they see you as a cash cow because, you know, your disability is really an impediment to this household. We don't have enough money here because of you. You big hardback man can't go out there and work. So I have the right to take your welfare and your other benefits because, you know, you don't know how to spend the money. You never learn how to do this. So I got to do it for you. And that is financial and economic abuse. And all of those things have been ongoing. The legislation and the policy speak to implementing a commission that will oversee rights, the discussions on the rights and the applications of the fines, and the legislation speaks to that because these things have been going on in our country.
And contributor to the draft bill, Professor Dwayne Devonish, added that the effort towards inclusivity needs to go beyond the law and reach into communities.
There's a large articulation of having a community awareness building program across at-risk communities in which persons with disabilities reside. In fact, we're also looking at setting up community surveillance systems, similar to what we've proposed for the national policy for aging, to protect persons who are aging from elder abuse. We want those same systems to be operational to protect persons with disabilities in those communities. So it really rests on the agency of a community member or neighbor to report wrongdoing, or to allow for that investigation to take place and for justice to be served.
The family of a former national footballer is appealing for help in securing life-saving cancer treatment for him. 21-year-old Deshaun Howell was recently diagnosed with aggressive lymphoma. His mother, Natasha Howell, told CBC's Morning Barbados when he first started to complain of pain, he saw several doctors, but it was only after being admitted to hospital in the U.S. and following numerous biopsies that the diagnosis was made.
It was heartbreaking. heartbreaking because to know that I have a 21-year-old who was just last year before, and the year before that, up kicking a ball, dealing with his 2-year-old daughter, you know, and being active and alive, and just no seeing him or hearing him, because at one point in time, at this point in time, he's not able to walk.
Oh.
Yeah, Deshaun can't walk. Deshaun is bedridden at this point in time.
After 2 rounds of chemotherapy, Deshaun was transferred from the U.S. back to Barbados. A fundraising campaign has been launched to help the family of the former St. Leonard's Boys School student raise roughly $200,000 to purchase medication which is unavailable locally or regionally. An account has been set up in Deshaun's name at the RBC Royal Bank, and the Barbados Cancer Society can also be contacted to facilitate donations. Ms. Howell is also appealing for help setting up a GoFundMe page to assist in the effort. Now, there have been 3 COVID-19 reported deaths recorded between the periods March 18th to the 31st. This is according to the latest figures from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. 295 cases were also recorded after 1,864 tests were conducted for that period. These include 120 males and 175 females. According to health officials, 31 people were under the age of 18, while 264 were 18 years and older. So far, Barbados has recorded 582 COVID-19 deaths in total. There are 163,833 persons with at least one vaccine dose for the COVID-19 vaccine, while 155,010 persons, they are fully vaccinated. On the eve of the renaming ceremony of the Vauxhall Primary School in honor of the late Shirley Chisholm, one Pan-Africanist is calling for further education of the public about her contributions. The call comes from the ambassador to CARICOM, David Comishong, as he spoke on the topic of honoring influential Caribbean personalities on Q100.7 FM's Let's Talk About It. The ambassador believes that the use of entertainment and the creative and performing arts can be useful in the education process and call for the mainstreaming of this activity in nation building.
Yes, you could get up on a podium and you could just speak it, but if you wrap it up in a dramatic presentation that involves theater, it involves dance, involves music, involves film, it is so much more powerful. And I think it's time that we recognize this, that we are doing ourselves a disservice by not fully utilizing arts and our artists in both our formal education process and in our informal education process.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Chief Education Officer, Joy Adamson, was on the school compound for the final preparations ahead of the event. She responded to a question regarding the further education of students about the legacy of Shirley Chisholm.
The Shirley Chisholm Education Foundation, as they have donated some books. We have some books. She was the first for younger ones, and I had my 7-year-old grandson read it yesterday, so it is suited to that age. And then we have the on bus books that we will be donating to all of our schools across Barbados, including our secondary schools. We want to make sure that that is in their libraries, and that could actually be a text that we can consider later to be even on the CXC.
Sports Night, brought to you with the compliments of Great Health Works, agents for Omega XL.
Time for some sporting news now. Let's go over to Anne-Marie Burke in the sports studio. Where do we start tonight, Anne-Marie?
Pinelands are the champions of the BABA President's Cup after defeating Station Hill Cavaliers in the final at the Barbados Community College Gym last night. It was a tight game that saw Pinelands eventually come away with the win by a 6-point margin. That is the closest any team has come to defeating the Pine this season.
Pinelands and Cavs. This is a battle for the President's Cup, and both teams came out the blocks gunning. And who better to lead the Cavs attack than Captain Saeed Norville, draining this 3. But guess what? On the other end, the shots were being taken too. That's Darion Hurley. But in this first quarter, Cavs came out the stronger team, and Norville was just on fire. Pinelands keeping it as tight as possible. This is the younger Hurley Darion taking it all the way. Trying to get those points in as much as possible, Jeremy Gill just inside the arc. But Cavs had control of the first 15. The defense as strong as the offense. Norville holds Gill, then steals and will go coast to coast to take it off the board. As Cavs will end the first quarter with a 4-point lead, 22-18. Coming into the second on the back foot, Pinelands press into action immediately with all hands on deck and getting the maximum points. They close the gap. That was Rashid Maynard. Don't think Cavs are anywhere out of this game. With all hands on deck, this quarter went shot for shot. Joel Hunt off the board. But Pinelands was on a mission and Captain Hurley was leading his troops. Nicely through the D, class at play. Cavs were the ones now behind and will go into the half down by 2. This basket from Shane Rock took their score to 44. While on the brink of time, the Hurley brothers will make it a basket on the whistle. Pinelands now in control, 46-44. Third quarter action and Cavs started in the best way possible. From the left, Darren Hunt makes it a big one. But Pinelands had a plan in mind to keep that lead, and they were not only doing that, but extending it at this 3 to the scoreline from Hurley. Cavs had some big moments as well. Norville, who had 23, nearly 3 of those points. But Pinelands did not come out to play, and that 2-point lead was now a 3-point lead at the end of the third, up 70-67. So you know this final 15 was truly the business end of things, and Cavs got the ball rolling thanks to Darren Hunt. Pinelands stepped up their defensive play. Hurley gets a steal and will take it all the way. Such a game on our hands that at one point it was a locked score. Forcing a timeout call, both teams regrouping. But Pinelands understood the assignment and was leaving nothing up to chance. And talk about upping the defensive game. They did just that too. Hurley to Rashad Hall. One final free throw basket from Hurley was where it was signed and sealed. And in a last-ditch effort, Cavs aimed for the 3, but it was not meant to be. President Cup's champions are Pinelands, winning at 101-95. Captain Doroni Hurley, with a game-high 27 points, was named the MVP, as Pinelands now have all right to celebrate.
The government of Barbados is committed to signing a new social partnership protocol on May 1st. The announcement from Colin Jordan, the Minister of Labour, Social Security and the Third Sector, on the 30th anniversary of the signing of the first protocol by social partners back in 1993.
The work of the social partners coming together has created for us a governance system in this country where all partners work together for the good of the nation. We remember the pioneering efforts of the then Prime Minister Sir Lloyd Erskine Sandiford, the leader of the workers Sir Roy Trotman, and the leader of the private sector Sir John Stanley Goddard. These men, along with many others, worked hard to make sure that we could put together a system that could help us to get through the challenging times within which we found ourselves. And this social partnership has continued to work and to see us through many challenging times. We recommit ourselves as a government to the social partnership, to social dialogue, and to engaging with our partners in ensuring that we do all that is right to move our country forward and to improve the lives of the people of this country. We celebrate, we look forward to continuing our work as a social partnership, and we expect to be able to have a new protocol to be signed on May the 1st. That commitment is to make sure that we work together as partners to develop our country, recognizing that none of us can do it alone. We need each other, and we recommit ourselves to working together for this cause.
In other business news on the local scene, a financial technology or fintech specialist has been seeking to make a distinction between the sector and cryptocurrencies. Founder of Global Integrated Fintech Solutions, Dave Sada, says people often confuse the two. As a result, he believes they are hesitant to get immersed in the fintech space.
One of the first questions that we automatically are asked are, do you do Bitcoin? Are you involved in crypto? Questions of that nature. So I just, I always like to make the distinction that fintech is so much more than that. As a matter of fact, one of the most simple definitions for fintech as it relates to financial institutions, it is any technical process that makes the life of the customer easier. Right. So, over the years, we have things like online banking and being able to make direct transfers from, one's computer, etc. Those are all examples of, fintech type solutions.
More sports now. Let's go back over to Amory Burt for the second half.
Have some netball news, Shane. UW Blackbirds got the better of Cure Oxygen Blazers in an exciting matchup of the Barbados Netball Association's Division 1 season. It was a close contest at the Netball Stadium with the Blackbirds easing to a 2-goal win. CBC's Damien Best reports.
Good crowd in for this Division 1 contest. UWI Blackbirds with possession taking on Cure Oxygen. The Blackbirds would score first. Contact called as the players jostle for position. Goal shooter Shanika Wharton from range is good. Finished with 27 goals from 39 attempts. She had good assistance from goal attack Brianna Holder. Wharton, of course, using her height to attract attention from the goalkeeper and goal defense. Holder with good reflexes, aided by the obstruction call. She would sink it. That's one of her 14 goals from 19 attempts. Down by 4, Cure Oxygen needed a spark to get going. They found that in goal shooter Shakina Manning. Contact call. Manning would eventually settle and drill the shot. Had decent returns. 21 goals from 30 attempts. But they continue to slice into the advantage with good defense and clinical finishing. Manning leading by example, lethal from all angles. And if Manning was slightly off her mark, goal attack Sabrina Smith was in the right place at the right time to clean things up. Nothing but net. Converted 18 of 26. They trail by just 1. 4 goals to 5. Well, that was too close for comfort for UWI. Holder gets the favorable contact call. Lob to Wharton now. Automatic from there. But Cure Oxygen would be the happier of the two, putting together a solid passage of play to draw level at the end of the first quarter. Speed up court, paying dividends. We're tied at 9 goals apiece. Let's skip ahead to the third quarter with UWI up 22-19. The court awareness from Smith was brilliant on this play. Comes to the baseline to get the feed from Manning. Takes a few seconds to set the GPS. Job done. But it appeared UWI were just teasing their opponents at times. As soon as Cure Oxygen got within 2 points, the Blackbirds would come back with 2 back-to-back goals. Wharton having her way in the circle. But that all changed in the dying moments of that third quarter, though, with the girls in red not only tying the score at 30, but taking the lead. Smith shaking the goalkeeper and picking up Manning, who has the sniper's touch. Cure Oxygen lead for the first time, 31-30, with 1 quarter to go. Deep in the fourth, tied at 36-all. UWI sensing they needed a little more breathing room. Cure Oxygen trying to defend that circle. The Blackbirds find a way. Holder from 2 feet, got it. Closing moments of this one, UE up 38-40. Cure Oxygen needing to score quickly and then turn to their defense. Smith goes down after an apparent elbow to the head. No call from the umpire, but Manning misses the second attempt in any case. In the end, UWI Blackbirds would secure the narrow 41-39 victory over Cure Oxygen. Damien Best, CBC Sports.
And that's our time for this edition of CBC NewsNight. I'm Shane Seeley. Good night. Thanks for visiting us. Now, if you want to see more stories like this one, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And you can always go to cbc.bb for the latest news and current affairs.